Visually, this episode of Sakurako is stunning, and the art style stands out among the crowd from this anime season. But besides that, this episode I personally believe is one of the weakest out of the three we have seen so far. Even though this episode takes a different direction from the previous two and goes more along the lines of a happier route, because we're not just, dealing with a drug addict and stuff like that. We're dealing with a grandma that might have killed herself, or she had an accidental death, and that's kind of how it ended. Even though that's not really something to be happy about, that it shouldn't really be a good thing, it still could be taken as a good way to end the episode compared to the previous two, because you have it to where the family members realized how much the grandma was going out of her way to help out her husband, along with how much she had to do to be a caregiver, and how she died. The police were saying that she committed suicide, but they wanted to believe it was something else because their grandma's personality wasn't someone to kill herself, so they wanted to believe that there might have been another way, which led to where Sakurako did a hypothesis and was like, she most likely fell off because she wanted to take a picture, look at the picture that her husband made a long time ago, and she wanted to see how it looked like when the sun rose over the mountain. And so it was a happier way to look at this episode than the previous two, but when it came into the plot-wise, I felt like this episode was one of the weakest. The reason for this is because right off the start of this episode, we have it to where we are revealed that Sotaro is actually the little brother of Sakurako. Now, we already have many theories on this. I did my theory personally last week. I know a bunch of Chibits are talking about too in the comments, so it wasn't something that we didn't all expect already. But when it came to the way it was done in this episode, the way it was kind of revealed to us that it was indeed the brother of Sakurako, it kind of removed all theory crafting, along with how it could slowly scoot us into finding out more about her brother and how he died. But I guess it kind of removed the ability to be able to theory craft who that person was and what type of meaning does Shotaro have to Sakurako. But that was kind of concluded with this episode, because now it seems like it's trying to focus more on its main episodic type plot, which leads into something I was kind of scared about for this series. This type of plot, it is so easy to turn it into an episodic format because of Sakurako and our main male character, Shonen, how he goes around and they find different corpses and then they figure out exactly how these people died, which leads into something I want to talk about real quick before I continue with that little part of this video. The entire, let's investigate this, when Sakurako, puts her gloves and stuff on, you see the bones just pop up. I'm sorry to say this, but that scene, to me, personally, bugs the fuck out of me. It really does. Like, I liked it the first time. The second time, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna use this again. Third episode comes around. It seems like they tried to speed it up a little bit. I noticed it was a little bit faster than previous episodes, but still, I'm not a big fan of that transformation sequence. I'm like, nah, it doesn't really fit with the atmosphere of the series to me. It really does not. I mean, the first episode, I understand. They were just trying to showcase how Sakurako's different, she's abnormal, and I was fine with it. But seeing it carried on for these past couple episodes, I'm like, please stop with this, please. But yeah, getting off that, let's get back into the bodies. So yeah, you have it to where, once again, we have the plot where our characters find another corpse and they have to investigate it, how this person died. We get some backstory, we get some characterization for these other characters, especially the classroom friend of our main male character, and I mean, that's kind of what the entirety of the episode is about. So I do really hope in the future of Sakurako, it starts going its own direction with a plot. For instance, I hope it doesn't stick to crime investigation of the week, to where we have to figure out how this person died, let's investigate it. Was it suicide? Was it murder? Was it double suicide? Was it, this type of stuff? I mean, I hope we get into a long-running type of story very soon, because I'm all for episodic plots sometimes. It really depends on the series, but Sakurako has so much potential as a series, especially with what it has here, that it's really upsetting that it's not using it to the fullest, because there's just so much greatness that could be had with this series, especially with the characters, to the way the visuals are, to the way some of the meaning of the deaths could be. I mean, there's just so many paths that this series could take, and I just hope it doesn't waste it away by using episodic episodes. But yeah, that's my thoughts of this week's episode of Sakurako. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.